First of all, I want to congratulate you on an iconic run on Drag
Thank
Race.
you. Thank you so
You,
much.
I was thinking last night, you don't actually need a crown. You are so regal that the crown is implied.
Thank you.
So that's what I think about your time on Drag Race. I'm curious,
Oh, I
how
do
do you
appreciate that.
feel now that you have a little space from the experience and get to see it play back? How are you feeling about it?
I feel great. Like I've always had space from the experience. It was 9 months ago, girl. Like I've been doing my thing. Like the only thing is just like watching it back and like my phone's always lagging because of all the everything going on Twitter and on Instagram. But like just
Yeah.
the great part about that is just like seeing people seeing me and understanding me, and not being misunderstood, and which is like the best part. As you've seen on the show, nothing phases me easily. You really need to like get down deep for me to like crash down and break like that. So I was like, yeah, you know what? That's what happened. And based on the circumstances that happened with the twist, it's like I cannot even be mad. Like, because I know if the twist was not there, things would have gone differently. Absolutely. I think I was to be in that workroom. But
Mm.
I made peace with it.
Hmm.
I was there for 5 episodes and I'm back for the finale for a little bit. So I'm still going to be on your screens.
Well, that's good because we missed you.
So yes, yes. And I listen, I showed most of the things that I brought there. I just have two things left that the girls will get to see on the social media. So I think it's a win. And like you said, it was an iconic run. And yeah, I have no regrets, to be honest. I had a great time.
Good. I'm so glad. Okay, but let's talk about the Golden Beaver.
Let's talk
How
about her.
so Kiki Ko got it at least twice. We've seen it twice now. How did you feel about that?
I
You know,
I was pissed. I was pissed. I was like, okay, it made no sense because there was conversation in the workroom. Like, the girls made this rule. Did I say I was going to abide by the rule? Like, no. However, it was said that, if someone gets the beaver once, they shouldn't get it twice. Like, someone else should get that fair chance of, like, of
mhm.
grace. And girlfriend didn't get that chance. She got like sent right to that bottom the second time. I was like, work. I mean, that is fair play, if you ask me. However, you can play however you want, but I just felt like in that moment, especially because it was Melinda that had the power, I was like, oh, you dirty bitch, you're gonna use this to save her. And everyone saw it coming because everyone agreed that, Aurora should get the beaver because she was the best out of the worst. And then it was Kiki and I.
Mhm.
And I honestly, no shade to my sister Kiki, love her so much. I thought I had a better chance sending her home because, like, I knew what the song was gonna give. And saying this is not a song I'll perform naturally, but I was like, I might have more luck to perform this. And also, like, she's not lip sync before, she's not lip sync yet, and I just saw that. I just knew that the Toronto-ness in me would have, like, let her like work a little hard to if she was gonna beat me. Whereas with Aurora, I was like, you know what? It's going to be a battle and it was going to be a show, which it was,
It
because
was.
I blacked out performing that day and so did Aurora. We were like hanging out there. They were like, I don't know how this is gonna look because I didn't look at you, you didn't look at me. I was like, girl, all I just remember is I heard that stage making a lot of noise. There was a lot of jumping and things. So it's like, I think we'll be okay. And it was like the camera crew could not even keep up with us. If you notice, it was moving so fast because it was just pussy to the floor immediately. And we were both fighters and we're both Aries, so it made sense that that's probably one of the iconic lip syncs of the season.
Oh, for sure. And it was a battle. It was back and forth, unclear
Yeah,
who it was going to be to the very, very end, which is the best kind of lip sync. I mean, that's a
exactly.
that's the thing. Like you came and you showed your talent, but you also made really great TV
Thank
with
you.
the lip sync, with the looks, but also, with the personal side, like the
Yeah,
vulnerability. Like listening to you talk about your history and um coming out, all of those stories were incredibly moving. I'm curious if you're hearing from a lot of Nigerian people who can relate to that story and appreciate you sharing that story.
absolutely. Yeah, every day I get the DMs, I get the comments and my pictures, and like even more so now that my run on the show's come to an end. Like the messages have been so sweet, like, so proud for repping them, like, in such an admirable way. And like, I feel like I did something right. Like if I didn't get the crown, I was that one Nigerian queer man to be on, like, national or international, if you will, television, to
Yeah.
represent a very underrepresented group that's not really, like, comfortable to put themselves out there because
Yeah.
of the things they may have faced if they tried.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
mean,
very privileged to be living in the Western world to be able to, like, live my life freely.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, by virtue of being on Drag Race, like the
Yeah.
biggest drag stage in the world, you kind
Yeah.
of default to becoming a role model for some people. Is that like a role that you feel comfortable taking on? How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. I'm a big brother outside of all this drag. I've got a younger sibling. So yeah. So and my sibling definitely looks up to me. They're so proud of me. And
Mm,
it's such a joy. And so I'm very honored to be that role model for other queer Nigerians out there. And, just to show them that, it is
yeah,
possible. It is
yeah,
possible to like that, like it gets better. Whether it is like, trying to claim refugees somewhere, just taking the time and, like, being yourself safely while before you can get out, because I
yeah,
know a lot of people that are queer Nigerians just want to get out because it gets harder as the world progresses to hide.
yeah. Ugh. And yeah, it was a very moving and heartbreaking story that you shared. And like I said, I think it probably is going to touch a lot of hearts, both people who are Nigerian, but also people who don't really understand what that
Yeah,
experience is like. Like it's such
absolutely.
an incredible empathy builder. I'm curious if I can ask you, do you
Of
know if your
course.
family has seen the show and if so, what they thought of it?
I don't think they've seen it. Like, I just spoke to my parents, like, what was it, Sunday or Monday? Yeah. I would have panic attacks and, like getting on the show and having to go in and coming back home, like, oh my God, when the show comes out, like, damn, I feel like there's gonna be so much press and talk about me being, like, the first Nigerian ever on this queer show. I was like thinking it would get back into the Nigerian communities, but like I've not heard anything. My mom is not
Interesting.
because I think my mom has an idea of what it is because she does know, but I don't think my dad fully has, like, grasped onto it. And right now I'm like kind of like in a space where I'm just like, just coasting through. I'm like, you know what? They're not seeing it, it's fine. If no one's snitching on me and telling them or sending videos, it's fine. I'm just living my life here, and I still do see them, and it's just what it is. I think I'm at a point, like, if they find out, we'll talk about it because
Hmm.
there's no going back at this point. It's just that we'll just have to sit down and dissect it, like, in small pieces, so
Yeah.
that will be the last of the conversation. But for now, I'm just riding this drag race wave and, like, worried about the what's coming next.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure
Yeah,
like this has opened so many doors. It's such an incredible platform to for your art. So I
yeah,
will say there was also this moment with you and Aimee where you really like connected and had like a bonding moment. And
we
then
did.
but you also had a pretty rocky relationship on the show. How are you guys
It is
today?
it is a rocky relationship. Like, I will be fully honest. I don't talk to Amy much, like, out of the whole group. Like, I think most of my interactions have been limited to the season 4 group chat that we have on Instagram. And I'm okay with that because
Yeah.
as much as I don't interact with her as much, she doesn't either with me, and that's fine. Like, I'm not the kind of person that will get along with everyone. I'm not that kind of girl. Like, such a vibes person. If we're vibing, we're vibing. If we're not, we're not. And I think Amy and I could have probably had a better relationship. However, I think it's just how things played out on the show because I just felt some things were unwarranted and just felt like unnecessary digs, which I did not appreciate on the show. However, I've gotten over it and I have watched it back, and, like, and I'll be fully honest, my friends watch it and they're like, "What's up with her? What's going on?" I was like, "Girl, just." I don't know. It's just what it is. It was then and it's now. Like, if I saw her, like, well, yeah, we are sisters. We're a part of season 4 forever. But, like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's there's no animosity towards her. It's just she might not be the closest person to me on the cast, and that's
And
fine.
that's totally fine. Not it
Yeah,
is not RuPaul's best friend race, and that's
it's
okay.
not.
Okay, I know we're getting close to the end of our time here, so I just have one last question for you. I feel like getting to be on a stage like this and see it play back, you see yourself in new ways. I'm curious if there was anything about the doing the show, seeing the show that taught you about yourself or changed you in any way.
Honestly, I don't think. anything changed. I don't think it changed me, to be honest. I think I just learned how to work in a drag race environment. So if I were ever
Mm.
to go back, I think I'll
Mm.
have more of a clear headspace and how
Yeah.
to navigate things and such. And in terms of my drag, obviously, like, I spent so much money into going to drag race. I'm like, getting these elevated looks. And yeah, I'm proud of what I brought. And like, if I were to go back, I would just be like, the challenge would be like, to better myself from what I presented from the past. So, and what I'm taking away is like, a bunch of like, sisters and great friends that I'm gonna have forever. And yeah, so and if anything, I'll see myself in camera. I'm like, hey, there's a few things I want to tweak in my face. Because
No, no, you're
like just no
stunning.
just with makeup and like skincare
Okay.
and like this. But like yeah, before the show, I did have some filler in my face, but like nothing drastic, nothing clockable.
Hmm.
I'm all about moderation. I don't go
Hmm.
overboard. I'm not
Yes.
about the all-star space. Like, it's like, like when I get procedures done, I think of out of drag and in drag. Like it needs to
Hmm.
make sense for both, not just
Right.
not just drag. Because
Yeah.
underneath all of this, I am like, my boy self.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you already have all stars face. You're already elevated. You don't need to do anymore. Well, I just want to say one last thing. Thank you for repping for the beret fans of the world. As a
Yes,
beret
listen,
lover,
I
I
had
felt
to.
very seen.
Listen, I have a lot of berets, and especially until I was like, like, because I have to do that every morning. I wake up get picked up at 7. I was like, I am not doing my hair for the
No,
confessionals. It's just that, and that's why my hair I just had my little black sponge for the workroom, and yeah, but it was a cute look. It was really cute. It was
very
really
cute.
cute.
Very
Maybe
cute.
I'll pull a Jimbo and just keep the same confessional look if I ever go back on All Stars.
That would be iconic. I just want like a series of berets. Let's make them a
Maybe that's
thing.
maybe that's what I'll do. Just switch it up all the time. Different beret outfits if I
I love
for any
it.
TV show I do.
I love it.